Hey, Blue Table fans. Yeah, you gotta look at my ugly, unshaven mug one more time. So if you feel inclined, go ahead and just stay on with me for a minute while I explain kind of how the process works, because I think a lot of people don't know exactly what they're in for. I get emails that say, hey, I'm really sorry, this is the first time I've ever commissioned a project. So, okay. The first thing is to email me and say what you might like to have done. And the most common way to go about it is what's called a la carte. You tell me what you want done, I give you a quote, and then we do the project. The first thing we do is we order models, and if you're a first-time client, we give 30% off your cost of models. That's not for everything. There's foreign companies and different places where we can't do that for them. But for most games, we can do that for a first-time client. Standard is 20% off. And or you can send your models in. And you can even send them in assembled and ready to paint. We prefer that people not send any sort of case. Just send the figures, because keeping the case tracked does tend to be a bit of a drag and doesn't really necessarily make shipping better. So anyway, yeah, why did I have to bring that up? So that's a la carte. Now, you can email me and just say, Sean, I'm interested in getting into whatever game, and this is my budget. That actually works great, because I have a lot of armies on hand. I've got stuff in back that you actually never even see. Some of it's just ready to go. And a lot of times I'm ready to make that a very attractive proposal. So a budget really helps. There's nothing wrong with kind of getting a rough quote at first, even if you know that it'll be some months before you'll be ready with the money aspect. And let's face it, the money really is the barrier to entry here. And if you're going to play miniatures battles at all, there's a certain degree of expense involved with it. So, getting back to the original thing, you pay half down, and then you pay half on completion. Now, if you use the spreadsheets that I have, and you don't have to use them, I'll fill everything out and take care of everything. But some people do like that. You'll notice that they actually they calculate it as cost of model, like you pay in full for the cost of model, and then half for the service. That's actually not necessary anymore. You can just pay half. And I'm going all the way down to thirds. So generally, to get a project going for a whole army takes 200 or 300, basically. And with less than that, you could do it in halves, too. You could get like a 750-point army, a 1,000-point army, at least something to get on the table or get in your hands. I'll even do squads at a time. I have lots of clients who they either play, it's mostly War Machine, but it works for other games too, where they just get a squad and, you know, a couple other miscellaneous things done every month. And they've built up substantive collections that way. You can really round out 2 or 3 armies a year just doing it that way. And so I work with that. The most expensive option generally is the one figure. And I do have a lot of people inquire, say, hey, I just want one thing done. And really, if you want a sample of our work, the best thing to do is to go to the for sales gallery or commission a very small squad or a few guys. Because I do charge a premium just to put through one hero model. But we do that, and we do them very well. So if you just wanted, you know, the leader of your army to be done by us, we can do that too. Alright, so there's lots of other options. In the a la carte option, you get half off your painting for a run of 6 or more vehicles, and I count the smaller ones too, as long as it's the same painting method for them. So for Imperial Guard, Sentinels would count as a vehicle, for example. And that's a substantive discount. You can get level 2 painting, which is 30% off your painting cost. And the painting cost really is the lion's share of the expense of having an army done. There's also artistic license. This is a favorite of mine. I think artists tend to do better when they're left on their own, but you have to really kind of be in a place emotionally where you're ready for it to turn out how someone else thought it should be. That's 10% off painting. I will take requests. I will also agree to broad parameters. Like you might say, well, I'd like blue incorporated somewhere on there. Or I don't like this particular color. Or more often I have requests for, well, I want them to be dark and gritty. As long as it's a very broad parameter, you can get the artistic license discount on there. And it usually adds up to be quite a bit if you are stretching the budget. Another option is a turbo army. And a turbo army is where you pay a flat amount for a certain number of points. You pick the army, so you'd say like, give me 2,000 points of high elves. And in that case, we pick everything. Now, some people might balk at that a little bit, but first off, you save money. I always make sure it turns out to be a better deal that way than if you just went and picked everything yourself. So there's that aspect. And also, we are careful we do something cool that we ourselves would like to play. Moderately fun and competitive. And we do accept general parameters for turbo armies too. For example, I had an elf player say, I don't want any dragons in my army. And that was alright. I'm just fine with that. A lot of things really, they just don't matter. Like the heroes, typically I'm looking at it budget-wise, like can we do it under a certain budget? And so if you said, you know, hey, I want us to go heavy on this type of character model, that's all right too. I can even run a few proposals by you. And that leads me into the next item, which is you can, up to and including, dictate to me over the phone. Like, I've had clients call me up. Obviously, this is way more laborious, so I would only ask that people only do this if they're ready to move ahead with the project at that time. I think if I had to spend an hour on the phone hashing something out, and then it was like, okay, well, see you next year, I'd probably be pretty depressed. But don't get me wrong, I do, you know, if it's something that you are serious about, then I certainly don't mind going over it with you. But anyway, what I was saying is, I'll actually talk to you about army lists, talk to you about tactics, new models that are coming out, really make some good suggestions, or what I hope are good suggestions about how to form your army. And you can do the whole thing over the phone. I had a guy call me while he was eating a steak dinner and set up an Imperial Guard army. He told me what he wanted in it. I told him how much it would be. He told me how he wanted it painted. I took his credit card number. And that's the last thing is payment. I take almost anything in payment. And so I take check, money order, credit card by phone, PayPal. Those last two are the more common ones. I do trade-ins. I'll include a link for the policies on that. I usually don't like to do all trade-in for something, but I will sometimes. It just really depends on what you have. I'm looking for saleability there, like can I turn this around into some other type of project. So, and then I guess the last thing I'd say, and I think I said this at the beginning, is you can email me and say, hey, this is my budget. What do you recommend? Do you have something for me? Because I deal a lot in second-hand armies. I'd like to deal a lot more. Like right now, I think I have like 8 armies here, and I'd like to have more in stock and refurbish projects and do a little bit more trading in. And so, well, I guess that's it. If you stood it this far, I really must say I'm impressed, and I really do need to get some orders going. You know, there's a push and pull to what I do, but boy, this last week was a lot of casting in the net and not a lot coming in. And that's not the usual thing, but it definitely means because we keep burning it hot. We plow through those projects, and I have very dedicated artists. They do a good job, and we're just ready to go. So hold on, there's one more thing. I also wanted to thank everybody. This whole YouTube channel, the blog, in fact, this whole business has turned into something more wonderful than I ever could have imagined. And I really am very grateful for what this has become, and how well things have gone and how much of a blessing this business has been to clients, people that watch us, my family, and the people that work here. So thank you. Thank you very much.